This is a comprehensive, multi-layered survey of indigenous languages in North, Central, and South America, including those that are endangered, still in use, and disappearing. This covers a wide range of cultural domains, from Amazonian mythic grammars to Arctic oral cosmologies, each of which encodes distinct symbolic systems, ecological knowledge, and ancestor memory. The Americas' indigenous languages, spoken, threatened, and extinct, an overview of history, diversity before colonialism, before European contact, more than 1,000 indigenous languages were spoken throughout the Americas, divided into between 50 and 100 language families and isolates. Colonial impact, particularly in North America, forced integration, missionary suppression, and boarding schools caused a significant loss of language. Revival movements. As a form of cultural sovereignty, communities are recovering their indigenous tongues thanks to the Native American Languages Act of 1990 and contemporary digital means. UNESCO's language vitality categories. Description of the status. Safely spoken by all age groups. At risk. Most children speak it, although its domains are limited. Unquestionably in risk. The language is no longer taught to kids at home. Severe endangered. Only spoken by elders and grandparents. Extremely dangerous. There aren't many older speakers left. No native speakers are still alive. North America, Greenland, Canada, and the United States. Status notes for language, region, and tribe speakers. Diné Navajo, Southwest U.S. About 170,000 Wowo-2 code language vulnerability. Robust revitalization. Cherokee, Southeastern United States. Approximately 2,000. The Sequoia Cree people in Canada established an endangered syllabary, varies according to dialect. One of the few that is still taught to kids. Canada's Inuktitut, Greenland. About 40,000, a secure Escalute household with robust institutional backing. The Haida Northwest Pacific 20, an extremely endangered, rich oral heritage of mythology. California Wiyot 1-2, resurrected language associated with seaside spirits and shell mounds. Languages still spoken on tribes and associated speakers. Cherokee, Salagi, fluent in Cherokee. Sequoia's written syllabary and ongoing revival initiatives. Anishinaabemowin, or Ojibwe Chippewa, and Ojibwe 50,000 in the United States and Canada. Several dialects and a rich oral tradition. Dakota Lakota, about 2,000 Sioux tribes, strong symbolic and ceremonial language. Hopi Hopi 6,000 language connected to cosmological and agricultural cycles. Zuni 9,500, a language that is distinct from all other languages. About 10,000. Yupik Alaska Native. In certain places, children continue to speak. Languages that are endangered or nearly extinct. Status of language tribes and associated estimated speakers. Twitnai Kunaksa Cayuga is seriously endangered. Confederacy of Iroquois, about 40 to 60, unquestionably endangered. 20 Haisla Nation Bella Coola, a critically endangered Nuxalk 20, Nuxalk Nation. The Han people, Yukon, are beginning to revitalize 7 to 8, almost extinct. Pacific Northwest Chinook Wawa 100. Once used for trading, it is now used for ceremonies. Central America, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and Mexico. Language, area, and population status. Notes for the speakers. About 1.7 million Nahuatl Mexicans are descended from Aztecs. At risk. Rich lexicon of poetry and ritual. The Yucatec Maya 800,000 people in Mexico, Yucatan, are at risk. Maintains calendrical and astronomical terminology. Maya Quiche about 1 million people in Guatemala. At risk. Popol Vuh myth, Garifuna language, Belize and Honduras. About 200,000. At risk. An African-American language with roots in Arawakan, Nahuatl, Pipil. About 200 El Salvadorians are critically endangered. Efforts are being made to revive. South America, Southern Cone, Amazon, Andes. Language, area, and population status. Notes for the speakers. The Quechua 7 million in Ecuador, Bolivia, and Peru. Multiple varieties of the vulnerable Inca imperial language Aymara, Peru, Bolivia 2 million. At risk, intricate spatial grammar. Guarani, Brazil, Paraguay, 6 million. Secure, Paraguay, strong cultural pride, co-official language. Conibo Shipibo, Amazon, Peru, 35,000 at risk. The language of healing and ayahuasca songs, Mapudungun, Argentina, and Chile. About 100,000 Mapuche language are endangered language Yan. One proficient speaker from Tierra del Fuego. Extremely endangered. Mythical marine lore. Language isolation. Cultural and symbolic importance. Cosmologies through languages. Many encode fabled creatures, sacred geography, and nonlinear time. Ritual speech. Songs, prayers, and invocations are examples of original language forms that are frequently needed during ceremonies. Kinship systems. Clan, spiritual ancestry, and ceremonial functions are reflected in terms. Ecological knowledge. Plant, animal, and seasonal names frequently have mythical or therapeutic connotations. Highlights of revitalization immersion schools. Native languages are taught to children by the Cherokee, Quiche, Quechua, and Mapuche populations. Digital archives and apps. Community-built platforms, First Voices, and Duolingo for Navajo and Hawaiian. Elder-led storytelling. Cultural survival still heavily relies on oral transmission. Additional Native American languages at risk. Linguists and UNESCO have designated these languages as definitely, severely, or critically endangered. Many are in danger of going extinct within a generation and have fewer than 100 speakers, most of whom are elders. Status notes for language tribal affiliations. Estimated speakers. The Arapaho 1000. Arapaho Nation is unquestionably endangered. Rich ceremonial vocabulary. Youth education initiatives. About 150 Assiniboine Sioux, Nakota, are in grave danger of extinction. Associated with Dakota Lakota, there aren't many proficient speakers left. The Catawba Nation of Catawba, Carolina, fluent dead. Revival attempts. Reviving languages through documentation. Chickasaw Nation 50. Chickasaw people are critically endangered. Immersion programs for active revitalization. Tribes of Coos, Oregon 10. Extremely endangered. Separate language, associated with myths of the seashore. Crimally endangered. Klamath Modoc, Klamath Tribes, Oregon 5 to 10 includes spiritual and ecological terminology. Menominee Nation, Wisconsin 20. Extremely vulnerable. Language associated with river and woodland cosmologies. Tribes of Miwok in Central California 10 are critically endangered. Numerous dialects and a wealth of legendary animal representations. About 200 Osage Nation, Oklahoma, are unquestionably endangered. Resurrected writing system. Continued ceremonial use. Pawnee Nation, Oklahoma, approximately 10 to 20. Extremely endangered language of holy bundles and star lore. Salish, Inside. Tribes of the Salish people in Montana, Idaho. About 100 extremely endangered, intricate word constructions connected to rights on land. Tribes of the Shoshone Great Basin. About 1,000 unquestionably endangered. Active rejuvenation, utilized in narratives and rituals. Tlingit Nation, Alaska. Tlingit 100, extremely endangered. Packed with clan-based symbolism and metaphor. The Tunica, Louisiana's Tunica Biloxi tribe, fluent. Dead, revival in progress. Separate language, ceremonial vocabulary maintained. Critically endangered. Wyote tribe, California, 1 to 2. The language of shell mounds and coastal spirits. One that speaks to the core of indigenous memory, symbolic continuity, and resilience. Native American languages serve as conduits for worldview, ceremony, and ancestry, in addition to being means for communication. They maintain and shape cultural identity in the following ways. The role of language in cultural DNA. 1. Worldview encoding non-Western cosmologies, such as relational ethics, animate landscapes, and cyclical time, are frequently reflected in indigenous languages. Lakota, for instance, uses verbs to indicate whether an activity is performed with respect and distinguishes between animate and inanimate objects, such as rocks, rivers, and stars, portraying a world full of spirit. 1. Ritual and ceremonial speech. Many rituals call for specific language forms, such as invocations, prayers, and songs, which become meaningless when translated. Hopi use verbal signals connected to astronomical events to time agricultural rituals. The ritual loses its cosmological grounding when the language is absent. 1. Identity and kinship. Kinship systems are encoded in languages that are significantly more intricate than English. Clan affiliations, taboos, and spiritual roles are common terms used to refer to relatives. Clan ancestry and sacred geography are used by the Navajo Dinabizad to convey their identity. I am born to the Water Clan, born for the Mountain Clan. 1. Mythical memory and oral tradition. Moral lessons, origin tales, and legends are transmitted orally, frequently using symbolic or lyrical language. Nuance is flattened by translation. A cunning character such as Raven in Tlingit or Coyote in Miwok contains multiple connotations, including teacher, destroyer, and creator, all of which are enmeshed in language metaphor. Cultural erosion equals language loss. A language's decline. Sacred sites become generic locations, and place names lose their meaning. Songs and prayers are either forgotten or misapplied, causing ceremonies to become disjointed. Relationships between generations deteriorate because elders are unable to pass on wisdom in its natural form. Symbolic systems fall apart. Taboos, ritual cycles, and mythic creatures are lost or abstracted. In addition to linguistic survival, cultural healing is a key component of Indigenous language revitalization initiatives. Communities, governments, and organizations throughout the Americas are reviving languages that colonial systems attempted to eradicate by fusing contemporary technology, educational reform, and ancestral memory. A detailed look at some of the most significant initiatives is provided. Government-led and national initiatives. Native Language Revitalization, a 10-year national plan, U.S., created by several federal agencies and the White House Council on Native American Affairs, acknowledges how boarding institutions and assimilation efforts have contributed to language loss in the United States, urges unprecedented action to protect the approximately 167 native languages that are still used in the United States, stating that if nothing is done, less than 20 may remain in use by 2050. Funding immersion schools is the main focus, assisting departments that speak tribal languages, establishing online courses and archives, educating teachers of native languages, academic and university collaborations. Munsee Language and Montclair State University work together with the Ramapough Lenape Nation's Turtle Clan, integrates land restoration, environmental justice, and language revitalization. Faculty and students provide instructional materials, record oral histories, and assist community-led projects. Through fieldwork, documentation, and community involvement, Haverford College and Zapotec Languages Works in Oaxaca, Mexico, aims to conserve Zapotec languages. Technology and electronic instruments language apps include Memrise, tribal-built platforms, and Duolingo, Navajo, Hawaiian. Tribal repositories, Living Tongues Institute, and First Voices are examples of online archives. AI and VR, immersion storytelling and virtual rituals in native tongues are being tested by some communities. Storytelling by elders and verbal transmission. Elders are essential to revitalization because they frequently act as cultural anchors and language preservers. In intergenerational learning circles, programs combine young people with seniors to share stories, songs, and ceremonial speaking.